Hey Brainiacs, how you guys doing today? I am Cam's Brain, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to another episode of My Humble Opinion. If you guys are new here, what we do here is we talk about a lot of important things sometimes, and sometimes we talk about a lot of fun stuff. Today we are going to be talking about The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And what we do here, we take a law of power each week and we dissect it every Sunday at 8 p.m. This is a new series that we're doing, and today is no exception. We're going to be talking about the 17th Law of Power. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Now, how I always start everything off, the 48 Laws of Power could be a book of manipulation depending on who you're talking to. For me, I think it's very important for you to know about this book because it's a very popular book. It's a book that a lot of people use in order to navigate life and figure things out. And again, this world isn't pretty. So even if this is a book of manipulation, it's important that you know what people are reading, that you know what people are studying, so that you can counter-react the things that people are allowing themselves to be motivated by. This statement itself could sound manipulative, but at the end of the day, it has a very, very strong message to it. If you guys are new here, what I usually do is make sure that I can break this down in a few different ways: spiritually, mentally, financially, and then sometimes, or all the times, how you can use this in business as well. And today, again, is going to be no exception. Now, for me, when I look at this parable or I look at this saying, what it's basically saying to me is never continue to do the same thing all the time. Specifically in business, you want to be sure that you are giving your audience, you're giving your clients, you're giving the people that you're trying to sell things to a very, very wide variety of yourself, or a very, very wide variety of your product. Meaning, if somebody begins to put you in one singular category for what it is you're doing, that is not always a great thing. For me, when I had a lot of different companies that I was working on and a lot of different businesses, what I found was giving people a large variety of options helps you in the long run, because what it does, one, it creates a big portfolio for you of what you can offer to somebody, and two, it allows people to feel as though they have, options. They can customize something, they can come to you and get something different that they possibly wouldn't be able to get from someone else. Now, same thing when it comes to a relationship. I think what happens a lot of times in relationships, you get very comfortable, and the more comfortable you get, the more you continue to do the same things. And in any type of relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a romantic relationship, so on and so forth, I think the biggest mistake that you can make is continuously doing the same thing, because you can either allow yourself to become more bored with what you're doing and who you're doing it with, whoever you're doing it with, whether it be a spouse, a friend, girlfriend, husband, so on and so forth. They can get bored as well if you continue to do the same thing. Now, the suspended terror type situation, I don't really want to speak to that because that doesn't really resonate with me or anything that I would want to give advice on. I think that's more or less when you're looking at things from the outside in. Like I said, this book is a book of manipulation. So if you're looking at it in a sense of somebody may manipulate you, you're going to have to be aware of somebody that's going to do certain things just to keep you in fear. For instance, my old man, whenever he used to get upset with us, or even when he wasn't upset with us, he would just walk around and yell. Like just the smallest thing, like he'll call you and then ask you for something very simple. But the way he called you, it was almost like you thought you were in trouble. And as I got older, he shared with me that he used to do that because sometimes we weren't messing up, but he wanted us to realize that he can still find something that we may have done wrong, or for us to continue to be scared of him even if we're doing the right thing. So he used to purposely yell at us like that just so that we can stay on our toes, essentially. So that's probably the best example that I can give as it relates to somebody trying to keep you in suspended terror in order to kind of throw you off track or throw you off their scent or what they may do. A lot of people have huge bravados and things that they're very vulnerable with. And the person that yells the loudest is the one that's scared the most. At the end of the day, the reality of the situation is you got to just be aware of people's insecurities. And a lot of times they'll show you their insecurities by the way they react to you in certain situations. And it's very interesting. The more and more you realize that some people get loud, some people have a lot to say and comment on because they have an issue with a particular thing that they're dealing with or that you're dealing with. So in a manipulative sense, that's a little something to look for as it relates to dealing with some people that will try to scare you in certain ways in order to gain control or in order to basically keep you in check. It's even like working a regular job. I know you find sometimes you'll get a job and your job may say, hey, you have to keep this quota, and if you don't keep this quota, then you may get let go. That's suspended terror. It's somebody trying to keep you in line so that you're able to do exactly what it is they want you to do. Now, in a spiritual sense, the reality of the situation is you want to continuously grow. Creating an air of unpredictability is almost like just continuously surprising yourself spiritually, continuously trying to push yourself to do something better than what you've done a week before, a day before, or even a year before. But the unpredictability in a positive way can be an extremely great thing for the simple fact you're continuously challenging yourself as an individual. One thing that I learned in my belief is that God, Allah, whoever you believe in, for the most part, they already know what you're going to do. So life is all about proving things to yourself and showing yourself that you can become a better person than you were the day before, the month before, and the year before. So creating that unpredictability in a positive way to push yourself to become a better person, whether it be spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially, is always going to be a great thing. And you can do the same thing in business. If you feel like you've made an extensive amount of money doing one thing, try to challenge yourself to do something a little bit grander, a little bit bigger, a little bit better. That way you can see if you're going to continue to grow and elevate into an even bigger company. You may go from working out of your garage to a storefront, a brick and mortar location, to having a Fortune 500 company that can be sold for millions of dollars. But at the end of the day, the key to it is never staying stagnant, never staying still, always putting yourself in a position where you can be positively unpredictable and not allowing people to be able to pin you to one specific thing. When I was younger, I had two older brothers and they did a lot of things that they shouldn't be doing. But one thing that my older brother always told me is he never stays in one location longer than 10 minutes. And I asked him why. And the reason he gave me was 10 minutes, at least back then, was enough time for him to do what he needed to do at a bodega, for him to do whatever he needed to do wherever we were, and to get back to safety in case somebody that didn't like him was aware of his presence being there. Back then you had to go find a payphone, call somebody that didn't like the person you just seen, and then they had to come and find you. Nowadays it's completely different. Obviously you got cell phones, you got social media, you got so many things that makes that 10-minute window turn into maybe to a 5 or 2-minute window. But the reality of the situation is what he was basically saying was keep everybody guessing, keep everybody in suspense as it relates to what you're going to do. Continuously change things up so that nobody can know your next move. And that is important. It's important in life. It's important in business. And again, even in a relationship, you want to be with somebody, depending on how your life is set up and who you are as an individual. I know for myself, I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to show my wife that I can, adapt, that I can do things bigger, grander, better, and granular. So for me, I don't want to continue to be stagnant in doing the same things. Now, that doesn't mean I will continue to change my personality. Who I am as an individual, as a man, is why she's with me, right? But at the end of the day, who I am as a person can always grow. And if I'm aware of that, and I know that my growth is going to continuously be positive in order to become a better person and have a better life, that's what's most important. But I want you guys to leave your comments down below. You let me know what you think about this particular statement. If you've had a situation where you had to keep somebody in suspended terror, or if you had to cultivate an air of unpredictability. At the end of the day, I want to know about it. Let's get involved. Make sure you leave your comments down below and you share a time when you had to use something like this in order to succeed in life and figure things out, or just be more prosperous in the things that you were trying to do. At the end of the day, like I said, sometimes you have to use this stuff and sometimes you don't. But I want to know if you guys ever had to. Make sure you leave your comments down below. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I am Cam's Brain, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to another episode of My Humble Opinion. I will see you next time. Peace.
All work, no pleasure.